Hi everyone, welcome back to Splash Page. I'm Sean, and as always, I'm joined by Andrew. And as you can tell at this point, we are doing daily episodes to catch you up for The Boys Season 3. And today we are going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 2. So let's jump right in.
We open on Butcher reading a note scrawled in crayon, trying to remember something, and flashback. Butcher wakes up on the ground in the parking lot trying to figure out where Homelander left him. Then, as if it was scripted, the news comes on. There's a manhunt out for the dangerous William Butcher. He turns and leaves the restaurant.
Homelander plays catch with his son while Becca looks on from inside, let's say concerned. Homelander wants his son to use his powers, but Ryan doesn't even know he has powers.
We find out that the only reason Butcher is still alive is because Becca begged Homelander to save his life. And in return, Homelander gets to hang out with his son for a while.
We jump to the Deep, who is talking to the woman who runs the Church of the Collective. He's getting frustrated with her as she tries to get him in touch with his feelings, and all he wants to do is get back into the Seven. Eagle the Archer stops by with a bunch of Fresca and tries to help Deep realign things. The Deep isn't taking this seriously, but takes a drink of some special tea Eagle gives him.
The Deep sits in his room listening to the Goo Goo Dolls as the drugs are kicking in when he starts to hear voices. He opens his suit and his gills are talking to him in Patton Oswalt's voice. He's ashamed of his gills, and that's why he's always been treating women the way he does.
The Deep is deep in his trip, still talking to his gills. His gills tells him he deserves to be loved in a "it's not your fault" kind of scene. He finally starts to come to terms with his own body, and in a duet with his own gills, sings "You Are So Beautiful" by Joe Cocker.
Starlight, Maeve, and Stormfront are doing photo shoots on red carpets being led around by the new VP, Ashley. Maeve gets a phone call and leaves for a family emergency. Ashley doesn't want her to leave. They're working on a new campaign, but there's no stopping Maeve, so Stormfront leaves as well.
Maeve shows up at the hospital where her ex is in a bed with a burst appendix. They talk about their broken relationship, and despite Elena asking her to leave, she stays.
But Elena's pissed they have to keep their relationships a secret from the public. Maeve tells her they're not keeping it a secret from the public. They're keeping it a secret from Homelander, who's extremely jealous as well as terrifyingly violent.
Later, Starlight and Stormfront are doing dozens of interviews about Girls Get It Done campaign. Starlight makes it known she's single, while Stormfront mocks the whole process, breaking down into a rant about the meaninglessness of the genitalia of superheroes. And she makes a crack about not having pockets in her suit.
A question comes up about A-Train, and suddenly he's standing right there. Apparently, he woke up and nobody told Starlight.
At a party in the tower, Starlight and A-Train have a tense discussion about the real story of what happened that night, and A-Train basically threatens her with the information that he knows she let Hughie escape.
Gecko catches her attention and hands Starlight a sample of V in a tampon bag, but Starlight's in the middle of a press junket with no pockets. Gecko doesn't care, leaves her with the bag, and she tries to hide it in her boots. A-Train runs up beside her and asks what she just put in her boot. He checks her legs but finds nothing. She slipped it into Stormfront's bag. Starlight confronts Stormfront, tries to convince her she's not a sellout. Stormfront tells Starlight a story about her own hero, Pippi Longstocking, telling Starlight to fuck this world for confusing nice with good. As she leaves, Starlight grabs the bag with the compound V in it that she stashed in Stormfront's bag earlier.
We head to Susan Raynor's funeral. After the ceremony, Grace Mallory heads to the parking garage and catches Butcher hiding in her back seat. She's not surprised, and she's not happy to see him either. Mallory heads inside to have Butcher arrested for murdering Madeline Stillwell, but Butcher stops her with information on who killed Raynor. He thinks Vought killed her over a soup terrorist smuggled into New Jersey. If they can find the terrorist, they can find out who killed Raynor.
Butcher comes back and tells the boys about his meeting with Mallory. Tells them that if they get the soup terrorist, she'll clean their records and end this hiding out. He's got an address linked to a bank account in Newark, New Jersey that paid to smuggle in the soup terrorist.
Becca drops off her son Ryan at a neighbor's for piano lessons and drives off. She arrives at the front of the gate of her neighborhood, which is apparently guarded. She's told that since Homelander found her, they are not going to do anything about it, and are pretty sure he'll just get bored and leave her alone sooner than later. She threatens to run and hide, but Dr. Park seems pretty confident she won't get far.
Back at Becca's house, Homelander sits with Ryan in his room and gives him a cell phone in case he wants to call his dad. We find out through Homelander that Becca isn't living in the real world, but in a weird Truman Show type of house where all the neighbors are fake and they can't actually leave.
The boys are gearing up to take down the soup terrorist in New Jersey. They walk into a closed-down costume store. Kimiko heads off and finds a man walking through the store. She jumps down to him and hugs him as they both cry. Frenchie realizes it's her brother. Hughie stops Butcher from shooting him, but only just, and the brother tosses them through a rack of costumes with the power of his mind and runs off with Kimiko.
The boys pull Butcher from the wreckage, who immediately turns on Hughie, but Mother's Milk breaks up the fight. Butcher tells Hughie he's no longer welcome in the group and turns to leave, only to realize that Milk and Frenchie don't exactly agree. Butcher relents and tells them that Becca's alive. He's in this for more than just revenge now.
We find out from a conversation between Kimiko and her brother about how the Shining Light Liberation Army injected both with Compound V. About how since the first dose worked on Kimiko, they knew it would work on her brother. About how they both feel guilty for not finding each other.
Starlight texts Hughie she's got the V, but A-Train appears and finds the vial of V. They blackmail each other. A-Train knows Starlight stole the Compound V and is helping Hughie, but Starlight knows that A-Train killed his girlfriend Popclaw, so no one's telling anyone anything. Before he leaves, she takes the V back from him.
Kimiko and her brother walk down the street and talk. He tells her an American superhero came in and destroyed their village. He's all in with the Shining Light. They fight like brother and sister, if brother and sister had equally dangerous superpowers. Kimiko knocks her brother out just as the boys roll up in their van. How they found them, I don't know, and load Kimchi into the van with his hands duct taped together.
Butcher finally takes his shot and punches Hughie in the face, letting him know if he screws up again, he'll kill him.
We close out on Talking Head's Psycho Killer playing in the background.
That was Season 2, Episode 2 for Episode 3. Click here.
We are giving away 2 toys. The first is a Vax toy, and the second is a Percy toy. And we will be giving them away once we hit 2,500 subscribers. Just make sure you subscribe to our channel and leave a comment on this or any of our videos, and you'll be entered to win for free.
Good luck to you all.